We are back. Rimshots with Sean, and I have a gentleman. And look, Doug Weir, Syre. I want to thank you because you know what? We had an issue last week, and you were ever the gentleman. You could have told me to go jump in a lake. I like to not swear in my show. I won't say what you probably should have said to me, but thanks so much for doing this again. So you were talking about some of the stuff that you guys have been doing, the charity work and what have you. What's Syre been up to the last, I was going to say since 89, I think was the last time I've seen you guys, but what have you guys been up to?
We did we were with A&M, Warner Brothers US under Red Light, Sony in Japan, Intercore Europe. In early 90s, a lot of those deals kind of fell through with the grunge thing happening. But we did do a second album with Jim Huff, who was from the band The Works. I'm not sure if you're familiar with The Works.
Absolutely.
Great Toronto band. They were on A&M as well. Max Hutchinson, who signed us to A&M Records, moved over. He was A&R at A&M. Did you meet Max?
I may have. Like I say, we dealt with Pablo for quite a bit. There was a local guy down here. I just remember it being a weird time, right? Because it was like, yeah, we're interested. It seemed like nothing happened for the longest time. Then boom, it happened. Then boom, it was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hurry up and wait, eh?
Yeah.
Well, Max moved to Nashville and began working in the publishing sector with Belmer Music, and we were signed to Belmer, which ironically has an East Coast tie because Belmer is owned by Anne Murray.
Oh.
Or it was at the time. I don't know if she still owns it now. But Max went there. So we continued on with our publishing deal and worked on a second album. It took us about 6 years to put that album out. Came out in 98 and it sold out. It did well. It was a little heavier, darker record. Just kind of that's I guess where we'd gone to. And then about I want to say 5 years ago, we were contacted by Demon Doll Records out of Los Angeles. Signed with them. They remastered, remixed, and reissued both albums. So it ain't pretty being easy. Second album was called Pissed to the Gills. They've done very well. So we're pretty happy with that. We don't really have any plans at the time, or right now anyway, to do any writing. I'm writing, and I was had a writing project called Damn Pigeon. It was Damn Pigeon before I joined, but it was an older band, and we kind of got together and did some recording. Did 3 albums, and one of which I'm wearing right now. Damn Pigeon Whiskey Centers here on the shirt, and so that was quite interesting. Really great guys, great players. Right now, Rick just had an album come out, which is platinum overdose. Platinum over. He's gonna kill me for forgetting the name. Platinum overdose. Platinum override. Platinum overdose. Got to be platinum overdose. They just had an album come out. Yeah, I remembered it like 20 minutes ago. Yeah. So yeah, he's been working with these guys, and I believe it's some of the bigger LA band guys, Black and Blue guys, and he'll kill me for some of this too because I'll probably get it wrong. But all of the guys were in different bands out of LA, and so what they do is they work sort of like what we're doing here with the interview, and then get together and do their thing. Chip's done a couple of solo albums, so if you look online, you can find Chip Gall. Great records. Jamie's working on some stuff with a band called Blood of Van Gogh, which is Gary Borden's band. He's played guitar and Helix and a few different things. Sass Jordan. He's the guitar player for Sass Jordan, and I want to say he's done a few other things, but we'll keep it at those. Gary's a great guy, great songwriter. Blood of Van Gogh stuff is really good. They're working on their second album. Chris has just been doing some, he collects a lot of guitars and trades off on like vintage stuff. And he's been doing some work with the Def Bombs, which are predominantly cover thing, but he's got his hand in a few different things. So we'll see. Chris will probably come up with some writing stuff. I've just been writing, kind of on my own for about a year of the pandemic.
Yep.
Getting some ideas together, and of course, you couldn't really get together and jam too much. At least around here, you'd be, shot or something. But so everyone's been keeping pretty busy. About midway through the pandemic, we did, and maybe you can find a clip of this. We did 2 songs in the studio acoustically. So all of Syre except for Jamie, because we were just using the acoustics. For
always the drummer who gets screwed over, Doug.
What's that? Yeah, drummers always get screwed over. There was a young kid here. He's about 18 or 19. He got hit by a car. He was riding his bike back from fishing and ended up with some catastrophic injuries. And so Brian Vollmer from Helix put together a kind of an online show where a bunch of people like Weapon from UK, of course Helix, I don't know if the Dwarfs were involved, Killer Dwarfs or not in that one. Who else was it? There was quite a few bands. There was probably like 10 bands. I want to say Sarah Smith, probably getting some of these wrong, but again, it was mid-pandemic and my brains were scrambled a little bit, right? But if you look on YouTube, you'll find Summertime and Need What You Find done acoustically in the studio, though. So they're kind of nice versions. Good camera work at a studio out here by Dutton. It's a fun spot, and it just turned out pretty good, and it was fun to see the guys. That was the last thing we did together. Now, I think there's been a few calls about summer festivals that we've been chatting about, so we'll see what happens with those.
Well, and that's third, maybe fourth time you've mentioned benefits, fundraisers, those types of things. And if you can believe it, I've had people that I've done too many. I'm not getting paid. I can't do it anymore. That aside, musicians are usually, and I would say usually 99.9% of the time, the first ones that'll step up and give up their time for anything when somebody's in need. I think it's interesting. You mentioned the Killer Dwarfs. Daryl Miller's become a great friend. It's interesting that, people of your level would just think nothing of it and do it, where some of the guys that are, playing duos and singles might look the other way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like anything else. Some people want to help and some people don't. And predominantly, I think musicians and artists are of the ilk that they, like to pitch in and help with those things, especially when they see someone suffering or whatever. And I mean, it's what we do is fun to do, right? It's part of why we love doing what we do. We like to create, we like to have fun, we like to get together. So it's all part and parcel to the whole thing. Even the Fritz Fest, speaking of Daryl, we did Fritz Fest where Fritz fell off the roof, the drummer from Helix.
Yeah.
And he needed a bit of assistance. So we had the Fritz Fest, which was Helix, Killer Dwarfs, and Syre. And that was great. That was the last time I actually saw the Dwarf guys, I think. I might have seen Jerry since. And another East Coast connection there with Jerry Finn.
So they just did the Monsters of Rock cruise week before last.
Yeah.
And Daryl, I mean, it was interesting because they had to test every day, and then they test it when they left Toronto, they test it when they got to Miami, they test it when they got on the boat. all their guys came back. I guess there was a couple of cases on the boat, and they came back, with no symptoms. But it was like, Daryl sends a picture of him in 5 feet of friggin' snow in his little drum room, and then the next day he's like in his shorts on the beach in Miami, right?
Yeah. What a flip, eh? In the lifestyle. Yeah, in shorts one day, and the next day you're shoveling. I think Jerry sent me a note, or you had something on Facebook to that effect, where he was in shorts the one day, and the next day he was shoveling his driveway.
It's interesting. I'll tell you another little kind of neat connection. There's a gentleman who's a bass player down here by the name of Larry Bjornson. He plays for the Staticona band. I was talking to him one day, and the original guitar player for the Killer Dwarfs, after he left and joined the forces, just retired last year. True story. Larry used to jam with him out in Winnipeg. And he's, telling me these stories. I mean, Larry plays a lot of jazz and stuff, but he's a metalhead. And it was pretty neat because I knew Mike, the guitar player. And so anyway, when I brought it up to Daryl's like, oh, that's what happened to him. We lost track of him, right? And their bass player that's not with them anymore was in Buffalo. He's from here in Halifax.
Oh, yeah.
And we're trying to convince him to get a new phone, because when he sends you a text, he's screaming at you. It's all caps, right?
That's like Darren.
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting to see where kind of people land and things like that. I think we were friends with the Haywire guys.
Yeah.
I think the first time we ran into those guys was at Smooth Herman's, and then we did a couple of. What's that?
Smooth Herman's, my hometown.
Everyone's
absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's been there. And then I think Marvin lived out here for a while. A guitar player.
Yeah, so I did one of the bands that I play in. We did. They did 3 shows at a local club here in Dartmouth that we opened, and they had JD Fortune, because Paul has a really successful business in Newfoundland, and he just couldn't, take time off the business. So JD played with them, and it was cool. We played 3 nights.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, sold out crowds and stuff. It was great to see the boys. Marvin still sounds amazing.
Yeah, he was one of those guitar players that you look at and go, holy, him and Pete, right? And there's been a lot of them, like Brent Turner as well. Lots of great guitar players. I can't name them all here. Sorry if I missed anyone.
Right.
I better say Rick Mead too. But I love you all, as Ozzy says. But yeah, there's another guy you just watch live and go, wow, really, really great player.
Well, he had a brand new Eddie Van Halen model guitar that he had brought with him, and he hadn't played it in almost a year. And he was doing sound check, and he's like, "Oh man, I don't know how the heck I'm sitting there going, like, really, Marvin? Like, are you fishing for compliments here?" He sounded like $1 million bucks. So they all did. They all sounded great. But we got to spend some time with him after one of the shows and after the last night. And him and Dave Rash are just 2 super, super, super nice guys. Sean Kilbride, the drummer, he used to babysit me back in the day. I mean, it's cool to have those ties. People, like you said, Doug, we get to have fun. And we also get to make some pretty cool friends. And I guess the cool people get to hang out with cool people, and the assholes don't.
That's right. Well, there's probably a few assholes hanging out with the cool people.
They find their way in every now and again.
We let them in because we're cool.
That's right.
Yeah, they were great guys. Smooth Herman's was a lot of fun. We had a great time though on the East Coast, Moncton, Fredericton, Newcastle. We were playing in Newcastle the night that they caught Alan Legier.
That was at the Opera House.
Yes.
Yep.
So we were there, and we wondered. Everyone was kind of freaked out a little bit, and we're like, of course, I think we were just coming from Montreal or somewhere like that, and we got there. We had no idea, who this guy was and what the story was. So we got the story kind of the day that we got there, and then everyone was a little tense, and the gig was good though. It was good at the Opera House, and then somewhere during our show, kind of the news broke that they caught that guy, and you could see like a big sigh of relief. I think everyone was happier about that than us being there. So
I played. I did the Opera House a number of times, but I was playing in Newcastle when he was kind of at large, and I remember.
Yeah.
we were playing a bar, and I had slept in, and everybody was going to the club to do something, and they left me in the band house by myself. And I remember being really freaked out. And then they caught him a couple of weeks later. But it's funny because there's so many places that we all used to play that just aren't there anymore. Like the Opera House burnt down. Smooth Herman's isn't around anymore. The Crazy Horse isn't around anymore. And I guess things are replacing it. Like my buddy Junior Leclerc always talks about the Rock Pile, and I got to get to that place. Have you played there?
I've played there, yeah.
And I hear it's an amazing place.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's good stage. Sound man is fantastic. There's great sound man. And the owner's a really good guy, really strong supporter of original music and the local live scene. So it's really good to see. And they've held on through the pandemic, which is nice as well. Hopefully more clubs popping up, in the future.
Well, and I told Junior, like when I do happen to get up there, that's one of the stops I'm going to make, because it just reminds me of now it would probably be the same size, but I remember going and seeing shows at RPM. Like I saw Dream Theater there, King's X, and I mean that was just, you walk in, it was like a supermarket. It was like,
it was huge,
huge room.
And did you ever get up to NTEX?
Yes, absolutely.
NTEX was huge. At one point, we had the attendance record at NTEX.
Is that right?
I think that was like a 1,200 seater or something. It was ginormous, that place.
I remember staying with a friend of mine. He was at Woodbine and Danforth. He says, I'm going to take you and my singer at the time. We're going to go to this club. And it was in Mississauga. It was called The World.
The World.
And it was a dance bar, which not really into dance bar, but it was like, I just remember walking in, and it was the size of like a Walmart. And there was these huge towers with like people dancing in cages and stuff. And it was like, it probably took you a good 45 minutes to circle the place. And I'm sitting there going, holy crap. Like the biggest thing that we have down here was the Mooner, the Crazy Horse. And, we were concert starved.
Right. So
absolutely. And it was just, fell right off the turnip truck when I got up there.
Yeah, I grew up in Toronto, so I was kind of used to the pace, but
absolutely. And for one that has never been there, it's hard to describe till you live it. So we covered a few things here, Doug, but where you mentioned a few things about where people can find you. For our viewers that are going to be watching this in Halifax that have been going, thank God you get Syre on. Where can they find you guys? What you're up to? And
we mainly on Facebook. So there's a Syre page on Facebook. And really, if you want to get in contact, post any videos or see any videos that we've done, or get any show information, most of that's just posted on Facebook.
And I will tell you, you email or Facebook Messenger Doug Weir, and he does get back to you. And lickety split too, man. You're not one of these guys that waits. Sometimes you'll message somebody, you get a response 2 weeks later, and it's like, what did I even send them? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
You again? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, my friend, I want to thank you for doing this. You were a piece of the puzzle for me, definitely coming up. I always reference you guys. I always remember it being a great show. I always remember, you guys never taking a night off anytime I saw you. And hopefully I'm going to be able to get up that neck of the woods sometime soon. I'll come knocking on your door and we'll grab a beer.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Doug Weir from Syre. We're going to see you next week, folks.